All right, so the camera's rolling. I'm here with John again for our fourth recorded and posted mentorship session. So, how's it going, John? Yeah, so let's dive into it. So, let's talk about the present situation and preferred future, and then come up with a agreement for what we would like to do during this session. All right, that sounds great. I can no longer hear you. The okay, and now are you still there, John? I can no longer hear you. I can hear you now. Yes. Okay, so last I heard, you were looking into the co-creator course, and yeah, that's something big to celebrate. I actually moved it to your celebration in the scope that you completed the practitioner. I'm seeing you got a like from IBM itself, like the actual company. Are there any? Yeah. Did you look at the? Were there any job postings or anything? Did you look at the jobs tab? Oh, okay. So let's. Okay, so yeah, your preferred feature is to find that dream job. So, uh, how about if I share my screen and show you how to find that? All right. So here's my screen. So here's your post. Um, here's the like from IBM. So if I click on that, it opens a new tab and it takes me to, yeah. So I don't know if this is actual IBM or if it's uh so I'm clicking on that. But anyway, the thing that I'd like to point out here is this jobs tab. Yeah, so you can open. Okay. Yeah, so that might be something. Uh, yeah, so I guess okay, so I can stop sharing now, and yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what are some ideas you have generally in the most open-ended way possible? And you're having, I think it's on your end. Yeah. Okay. I, th- yeah. I think there's something wrong with your connection. The audio cuts out, then you leave and re-enter the chat. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I can hear you now. So yeah, hopefully it's resolved. In the meantime, I updated the now scope. I put in there to apply for some of the jobs from the IBM profile. Do you need me to kind of show that more completely and actually click on the apply button and do stuff like that? Awesome. So okay, so yeah, we were doing incubation, which is a part of the transformational coding coaching model practice. So, yeah, let's keeping that doing that. We've got things in your now scope, but yeah. So what are some ideas you have, kind of more broadly? Yeah, so my situation's unique. I kind of want to be careful not to speak to any NDAs or anything. I work for Inside Global. Um, so the so my, so my prior some of my prior work, we have used Agile Institute, which kind of idea things that kind of overlap with this, uh, but it, I haven't I definitely haven't used the IBM design thinking. Yeah, I haven't used the specific exercises from this site in a professional context yet. No. Yeah, yeah. I actually worked with a dedicated agile like scrum master. Yeah. So it, mhm. There's a tool called Jira that is designed to be used with agile practices. Yeah, I think a good, if you're curious about how this is meant to be applied specifically in the workplace rather than what are the general principles, I think a good way to get an understanding about that is the book The Phoenix Project. We were actually assigned when I worked at Spectrum Enterprise this book. We were told by management to read this book, so we all read this book because they wanted to adopt these practices, and they thought this was a good kind of guide for us all to understand what the practices were. So it's yeah, it's a little bit well. So here's what I would say is the difference. So I think the Agile Manifesto, which is just a website with a few statements on it. I think what is actually comes from that are things like DevOps. So it's like the Agile Manifesto is not a specific prescription to have stand up meetings, to have these uh, toolkit activities from the IBM Design Thinking course. But if you do those things, then you will be abiding by that manifesto. So they're interchangeable parts. You can have the toolkit activities from the design thinking course integrated into your professional environment, or you can use something like Agile. You can use other sorts of tools, but some tools adhere to different principles than others. Yeah, and in my experience, a lot of the tools kind of get it wrong. So the first agile principle is individuals and interactions over processes and tools. And guess what happens when you have Jira, when you have even these IBM design thinking toolkit activities. It's just another uh, widget. It's another process. It's another tool. Stand-up meetings. The 6:30 a.m. stand-up meeting that lasts for 3 hours. It's like yeah. I would say a way to implement these sorts of concepts in a professional environment would be kind of piecemeal. It's like what actually works, and to just like put this process down in an environment that's really not abiding by the principles behind the manifesto. If you try to do something like a stand-up meeting because you want to have interactions and individuals, you want to hear from specific people around the room, you're not going to do that. You're just going to create another process that people are suffering through. Um, so one thing you might be interested in is the DevOps anti-patterns. Yeah, so there's like a good one is conflating, and I heard a notification here, so let me see. You're still there, John, right? Okay, I'm not sure what the notification was, but the DevOps anti-patterns might be a good thing to look up. It was in a book, but it's probably uh, easier to see online. So yeah. Yeah, I mean the big thing, it's complicated because like yeah, so like the big takeaway from the Phoenix project, and I do think if you want clear clean answers to this sort of thinking, a good first step, the implementation of that would be the Phoenix project. You can probably even yeah, so that's I think that would put you in a on the right track. Uh, and it's a like you if you get your dream position, you might actually get assigned to read it at some point. So it's kind of a standardized thing to read anyways. And a takeaway is no Brents. So Brent was a character in the Phoenix Project that kept the company from falling apart. He knew everything. He did everything. If Brent wasn't working that day, nothing worked because nobody else knew how to do anything. So the goal is to make kind of interchangeable parts so that if Brent doesn't show up that day or Brent's not willing to work a random 48-hour straight troubleshooting incident response, the business still works because yeah, you have the documentation, you have other people trained in what to do, and you're not relying on one mega galaxy brain to know every little in and out of your business. Yeah. Awesome. So, what would you like to? Oh yeah, go ahead. Are you? Did you say something? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, what would you like to share with me next time? Okay. So, how about transformations, more discoveries? Last week was the big week where we had there was the mentorship after the session. Tons of discoveries there. Have you had a chance to kind of dive into it more technically, look at the code, and make some more discoveries in that regard? Okay. So regarding like best practices, is there like what is your understanding of best practices? All right, sounds great. So yeah, we're at the half hour. So I guess I'll stop the recording unless there's anything else you'd like to say.